Blue Satoshi, thanks for $5. Missed my super chat. Also, Apple products, a Bay Area in Utopia. Yeah. The Bay Area of Utopia, communist utopia. Do you though? I don't really know. Written Cyberfrog with anyone? Nobody really. But yeah, hey, you know that's hell. EBS say I respect myself. Evander is being violent and you also want your violence now. JL4GL, thank you for $2.50. That's free. James says, go get Daddy's soy whiskey. Where's my burp? This narrative. Get on Gab. Ragmuffin, what is Gab? I don't even understand. People keep telling me get on Gab. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Luke and Stone says I hate that thumbnail picture and I hate it real bad. Well, don't blame me. I mean, blame Solo. I didn't put those two in the shower together. That was Solo. Speaking of which, Solo, a Star Wars story, should have been 2 movies. Now, I mean, at this point, they're just trolling. They're just messing around. I mean, they have to just be messing around at this point, right? Who wrote this? You can share it. Only 103 people shared this. I'm going to tweet it out, though. I'm going to tweet this out. I got to log in. Yeah, screw that. All right. The new Star Wars movie Solo is an enjoyable action comedy, but it fails in one important area. Making a profit, honestly. 2 flops. You can make 2 flops. It could have gone. It could have doubled its failure. Really exploring how Han Solo developed his cynical, jaded attitude. You know, the guy kept saying Solo is an optimist. That was weird. The movie also mostly skips over Han's time as an Imperial soldier, which fantasy author Aaron Lindsay feels is a big mistake. Who cares? I wanted to see Han learning to become a pilot, going up against the norms and expectations of the military, deciding it wasn't for him, or it deciding he was not for them, Lindsay says in episode 312 of Geek's Guide to the Galaxy podcast. Why have I not been on their podcast? Why have they not invited me? And when will they? When are they going to realize that I need to be on Geek's Guide to the Galaxy? Anytime soon? Make it happen. Science fiction author Matthew Kressel agrees, noting that a brief sequence of trench warfare is one of the movie's most interesting set pieces. Quote, we could show Han in the trenches, he says. Seeing how
I didn't watch any of it, Amy.
Maybe coming out about
I just wasn't into it.
This sounds incredibly boring.
I made some dinner, cut a new board for the base.
Ragmuffin, thanks for
remounted the flange.
AI website, you will blow up on it. Okay. I have so much social media going on though. I just have so much, Ragmuffin. It's like I can barely keep up with what I have. Steve K, thanks for $1.99. Will there be a Cyberfrog holiday special? That'd be fun. Maybe next year. Caustic Soldier, thanks for $5 Australian. I just got home to my mother having broken into my shed and trying to sell my stuff. I screamed at her to leave, but I am furious. Do I call the cops? Would you call the cops on your mom? I don't know the situation, Caustic Soldier. I would recommend give your mother the benefit of the doubt. And if my mom wanted to sell my stuff, I'd be like, all right, mom, whatever. You brought me into the world. You made the world a better place. What would you like to sell of mine? Would you like to sell my Cyberfrog standee? Would you like to sell my Rose Tico standee? It's your mom. All right, so someone is saying refresh. Should I refresh the...
She had some lunch meat. I just had a sandwich, that's all.
I'm worried about that. I'm worried about...
I didn't feel like going out anywhere.
Like, why would your mom try to sell your stuff? Why would she try to... And what stuff is she trying to sell? For what reason? Is your mom unstable, or she just have a lot of stuff and maybe she's tired of it? Oh, wow. So we're at we just sold like 6 more books. We are now at 168. 8:57. That's very exciting. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. So we don't want to think about your mom.
She eats a ton throughout the day.
Stuff for drugs or anything like that. That's how she worldwide developers conference. Gotcha. Apple announces software.
She's gonna have to go in soon to get spayed.
Oh, so they called them. In other words,
and that cat has the potential to be huge.
I just like their products, I think. I don't know.
If she keeps that little appetite.
Everyone is concerned about your stuff. Booker T says, Ethan, you looking real jacked, baby. Thanks. Appreciate it. I feel jacked. Santino Black says, nice on Cyberfrog. Thank you, Santino. Link is in the description for those who have not yet bought a copy of Cyberfrog Blood Honey. Again, I would love to see it get up to 170 tonight. Oh my God. If it got to 170,000 tonight, and we're only $1,143 away from that goal. That would be terrific. John Robertson says that I look jacked in my soy shorts. They're not. Are they soy? I'm throwing everything away. I'm taking you guys clothes shopping with me, honestly. I'm taking you guys clothes shopping with me, and then we will make sure I don't buy any soy clothes. You're making me very, very insecure. Get a suit. I should wear a suit while I'm live streaming and drawing. It's dry. They're just sweatpants. I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to be naked when I'm live streaming. It's not good. Did I ever read The Badger in the 80s? No, I never did. Thank you. It's great soy shorts. Thank you. Hey, wait a minute. They're not soy shorts. They're not soy shorts.
So I got a pretty dynamic pose here. I know it's not reading well on the camera. Will once I get some clay on there.
This is how you make a road to 60K.
Do you want to bend that back a little bit more? I want that head to really crane forward.
As they found in my garbage shed. And I'm working on a video.
Yeah, those are fun to do. It's been so busy, and then we had a few there where nobody really showed up. So.
And not enough mail.
I've got some big white sheets of styrene out in the shop. Well, once the clay's on there, this black background will be great when there's clay. Not so good when it's black plastic. But it's a real nice dynamic pose. And I kind of got a little bit of that frogginess in without having them munch down. Oh, that one's great. The Sasquatch.
Somebody,
Yeah, that one's so good. I've got a couple of really bad ones too. This I've got this one. It's not that old, but it's like a Twilight knockoff, and it's so horrible. But the end has such a great payoff, and by that I mean it just really is horrible.
exactly like
So the balance, the center of gravity is shifted a little bit forward. So even in a standing position, it's leaning out. I do want to do that big toothy grin. So the head is projected further out than anything else. So that'll really read well. And then the elbows are like peeled back behind him a little bit, like the body is moving out in front of the arms. I think we'll be good there. I don't know what grade this is. It's not that hard, so it doesn't really matter, I guess.
or 1776 is up.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to tape those feet down to the ground.
Feminist, pain in the ass, women. No, what is this? Because they run the risk of people comparing what they see on the screen to what they don't actually.
I have got to find some background noise that I won't get copyright strikes for. I don't know what that is. I normally work, I have music going or something the whole time.
Yeah. Chuck Graham, thank you.
And even music, you know, music can drive people away too. People like what they like. It's harder to talk and BS the whole time when you're trying to, it's harder than you think. I think some people are much better at it than I am. But I tend to start getting lost in what I'm working on.
Alan, thank you for $5. What YouTube?
Once I get this kind of stable and secure, then I've got to take out those steel bolts. So I'm going to have to cut this apart when it's done. Let's turn that head. There we go. Give it a little bit of a turn. He looks like he has more purpose. Well, the problem with YouTube is that their servers are constantly comparing your audio to audio that's on file. So if it matches anything, it automatically gives you a strike. Nobody has to come along and hear it and make a claim like the old days. Now the software at YouTube Central will pick up on it and automatically issue the copyright strike. And usually it's not a strike. I shouldn't say it's a strike, but they demonetize your video. I don't have any kind of viewership to monetize anything anyways, but that's the result. It happens just about instantly too. It's like real-time scanning. They must have a heck of a software system running. I tell you what. It's annoying, but it's pretty amazing. You know, if I were a recording company or something like that, I mean, I'd be very happy that they had that capability. The internet definitely destroyed the music business. There's really no arguing that. There's a lot of the Sentinels from like Matrix, but I mean, you're hearing a lot more about like people in bands and stuff like that that have day jobs, and that's not cool. I saw an interview with Dave Lombardo from Slayer. I'm a huge Slayer fan, but he was talking about, and this was just a few years ago, that for a tour he made about $67,000 for a tour. Now this is the drummer from Slayer. That's insanity. Boy. Yeah, that's weird, huh? was looking at waxers today. A good waxer now is running about $400. That's insane. Yeah, I blocked her. I really don't want that stuff at all. I don't want to entertain it. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a channel bot. Oh, that actually looks like no, it's a soldering iron that I make different tips for, but I need to get a waxer because you can run the waxers a lot lower. This stays in the 300s. It's a little much for, especially for fine work, but for just bulk massing, it's fine. It'll be just fine. Okay, costs for everything has gone up so much just for materials and supplies. Shipping, holy moly. Shipping has gone up again in the last month or so. Well, I suppose those good waxers probably don't burn out like the one I had, so probably lasts a long time. Oh, awesome. Welcome. Good night, Cherry. Yeah, we're going to take a shot here at Cyberfrog and see if we can impress Ethan. And I think we should be able to. I had kind of brought this up on one of his streams very early on. And then his Indiegogo exploded. All of a sudden, he's a guy you can't get by email anymore. He's getting thousands of messages a day. Well, I'm really, personally, I'm very interested in his success doing this. I've also been in the entertainment business for many, many years, and now as a freelancer, and it's rough. It is rough. The current climate is really hard to function in. If your politics is not right, they don't even think you deserve to feed yourself. Oh, excellent. Well, I used to run a shop for Paramount and Viacom, and it's been a while now, but it was a little bit crazy even then. A little bit more forgiving, but I still watched people go down. Now I wouldn't make it a week. Yeah, I'm northeast of Atlanta. Warm night here in Georgia. Just enough rain to throw a bunch of humidity in the air. Yes, you're down by yeah, I know where you are. I try not to go too heavy politics on the stream, but like anything, it tends to leak out if you give an opinion on something. It's really amazing how fractured everyone is right now. Country's pretty much split in half. You got to get back up there. There we go. Good night, Amy. Well, I know a lot of people that are, I would say they're more to the left, but probably left center. And it's not near as bad out there as like media would make you think, because all they do is focus on the most extremes of any element. So according to them, everybody in the country is out in the streets protesting. That's just not the case. And the people I know that are left or left of center, they're not all angry and obsessive like that. It's just not true. A lot of bad info out there. You'd think this was the most racist country that ever existed if you watch the news a couple of nights. You don't see that out in the world. It's like constant fear mongering. It's pretty gross, actually. Yeah, I really don't. Of course, it exists. Of course, everybody knows that, but it's not like what these media outlets would have you believe. One of the main things when you're working with this waxy clay is you have to make sure you get a good bond between your layers, or you can have a lot of problems. Not as bad now that it's warming up, but in the winter months, it stays around 62 to 65 in here in the shop. And it makes a huge difference at 15 degrees or so. Where's that box of... So I'm removing these steel bolts or machine screws because at the end I'm going to have to cut this up. I don't mind going through aluminum and plastic, but I don't want to have to go through steel. We'll be making temporary molds to pour wax from this massing model. I skipped it tonight, Attack. I just couldn't, I just wasn't into it. More than I was willing to get into tonight. So I really want to get a clay on this and make some progress. Real-time live streams of doing this kind of stuff is not really the most exciting thing, but at least when it starts to look like something, you can get a little bit more interest. Well, my pride is on the line for this one. This one, I got to knock it out of the park. So a lot of planning and it's going to be a lot of streaming. As bad as that show is, it's amazing to just watch how shameless someone could be to just completely lift someone's show. I mean, all he did was change the color. It's insane. I at first I thought it was really a joke. I thought it was a work. I thought there's no way that this kid thinks that he's doing an original show. It's just not. It's not possible. But I don't know. He might just be that deluded. He's definitely a sociopath and a very extreme narcissist. So it very well could be the real deal. It's very strange. Odd behavior. Everyone's going insane now about because of the two higher profile suicides. I mean, there's thousands of suicides every day, and people all of a sudden realized there's a problem because a couple of celebrities went ahead and pulled the cord. But man, mental illness it's out there and it's really proliferating. Among other things, I don't know what it is. The old joke about something in the water, but who knows? It could be a combination of all the horrible food, what they've done to that. I was reading not too long ago. I think it was Amy and I were talking about it. There's a website when you can go and read the what's allowed in food in the United States as compared to other places in the world. Like simple stuff like soft drinks, everywhere else in the world they're made with real sugar. Here in the United States they're made with that corn sugar, the high fructose syrup. And it's like, geez, man. It's known how awful that stuff is. No problems here, though. Go ahead. Make sure you go to the 7-Eleven and get the 196 ouncer. Those soft drinks wouldn't be half as bad for people if they were made with real sugar. That corn sugar is poison. And then who knows the effect of using GMO? It's way too early for anyone to even know what the effect of that stuff is going to be. Those labels they put on everything. Hey, who knows? I doubt that's everything. I highly doubt that's everything that's in it. Yeah, we're starting to get a little structural integrity here. Awesome. I stayed pretty busy every day. It's been, let's see, it's been at least 15 years since I've had cable TV. And that one thing alone, without being cheesy, it changed my life. Getting that, I mean, the TV. And I was always just like a History Channel watcher or Discovery Channel, but even then, you sit there 4 hours, 6 hours, and then something else comes on. Oh, I'm just going to watch this too. Without that, it's amazing how much you can get into, how much other stuff you'll find. No, I'm not doing the old Pusha T. Passing on that. I'm not much of a hip hop guy. I never was. Every now and then I can get into something, and it's usually the stuff that's a little bit kind of cliche. Beastie Boys, Run the Jewels, every now and then something like that I find entertaining. I'm just not into the hip hop kind of thing. The new stuff in particular, all that mumbly stuff, I just don't. Doesn't give you that feeling that other music does. If something comes along and even things like, at first, the first season of Game of Thrones, I thought, oh, this is really good. I'll keep up with it. And then I just got to where, I've gotten that way though, even with a movie. If I sit down and try to watch a movie, it takes me 2 or 3 times to get through it. I'll sit there for 30 minutes and then I just want to get up. And I don't fight it either. I'm like, okay, I can come back later and I'll hit pause. Now, admittedly, I can get kind of wrapped up in YouTube, but most of my YouTube is like while I'm falling asleep. The bad thing is like when you start getting a little too interested in it. Like, oh, this guy's gonna make he's gonna hammer something out of a. What did I watch the other night? It was it was a guy who made a knife blade out of a pile of old screws, like wood screws. He had this big pile of screws. He threw them in his forge and forge welded them, and then started hammering it into a billet. And next thing you know, I'm just watching this guy. It's amazing how much information people put out there. And then what it could be if these places like Twitter and YouTube just got off their high horse and just let people go. I saw someone using steel cable, like stranded steel cable, and they took, a big bundle of them and hammered them all together and made Damascus out of it. That stuff is really, really fun to watch. There are some unbelievable craftsmen putting their stuff on YouTube for you to watch. I love it. I really want to get a subscription to that Stan Winston school, but it's so expensive. They're pricing it for like studios. It's like $80 a month or something like that. I might do it for a month and just see how much I watch it. But I also don't want to sit there and watch those videos for 8 hours either. But there's some really cool stuff on there. Yeah. We're getting there. And I'm just going to start packing clay on, and I'll hit it with the torch. I just didn't want to melt that close to the armature. But it's about there. Get it too thin and parts will just start dropping off. I probably should have wound this armature with some floral wire or something a little bit, but we'll see. This is temporary. I got a lot to figure out. I meant to go over there and to Ethan's stream and ask him if he'll draw Cyberfrog's butt. I need to see those buns. I need to see how those buns work. It's Saturday, though. He's probably not doing a draw stream. So this part, guys, the massing and getting clay on the armature is pretty damn dull. It picks up the pace once you get the basics on there. Should heat up the crock pot and just brush a bunch on. Can scrape it down with a rake later. Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. I just want to get tonight, at least my goal tonight is to get so I can take all the steel hardware out and just leave the plastic and aluminum. Not Fool's Watch. I don't normally like to get on people too much that are doing like art streams. Now I will kind of give some of those guys that test it a bit of a hard time sometimes. I know the internet's really hard on Norm and Frank, that beard guy. They can be a little rough on those guys. Most people that are just trying to make stuff, they seem pretty genuine, not schemy. Usually not the motivation that gets people on there. Now there are a few big streams, but I don't really like to bring names into it. You just never know. You never know. The one thing that I will say right now, there's a big trend of not the most talented people. And it's really just to get views and clicks. That's been kind of picking up a lot lately. Kind of pandering. I watch all kinds of. I watch the craziest stuff. I'm just like everybody, I guess, on YouTube. I'll end up sometimes watching some lady make fruit out of polymer clay. Well, that's pretty cool. All right, so watch this lady make things out of marzipan one day. Then all of a sudden, I wanted to make marzipan. That's just the cool thing about it is that someone gets inspired to do something. Honestly, I think if we're not buried on Facebook and Twitter or in front of a TV, I think we're better off for it. Shoulder's going to be pretty weak as soon as I take this out. I'm going to backfill that gap. Kids, I think, are in the most danger right now of getting too into this social media and devices, tablets. Even little kids are running around. They've all got tablets. And you have companies that have traditionally been about education, like Leapfrog, making tablets for kids. The effect on those kids is probably much worse than anybody really understands at this point. You have a limited amount of dopamine, And these games, they stimulate that part of the brain that gives you that pleasure. So it's no wonder these kids are bored with everything else but video games, because nothing else is stimulating them to that degree. Well, it seems like some of the child psychologists are starting to catch up a little bit and say, okay, this might not be good at all. In fact, this might be really bad. It's just taking them a while. And of course, you have a whole industry that kind of is fighting that. But I can't see how it could be good. I had a friend who I never had a Nintendo, the original Nintendo, the 16-bit. I never had one. I had a friend that had one, and I would go over at his house. I'm not kidding there. We would sit there from morning through the night playing Metroid or Super Mario. And the hours would just tick on and tick on. Not even playing, watching the other person play for hours. It's crazy. Fortunately, I never got into and I'm very happy and grateful for it. I never really got into the console thing. I've never had PlayStations and stuff like that. I got really hooked years ago on Ultima Online. In fact, one time I took a week off of vacation and then just sat in front of that computer nonstop. And eventually I woke up and was like, what am I doing? This is insane. I think this pose is going to be great. I really was having a hard time deciding. I kept moving, and finally I was like, okay, look, you can't do this for 2 or 3 days. Trying out poses, you're going to have to just do something, commit to it, and go. And I think this is going to be a good one. Starting to get a little more clay on there. See, it's a lot of movement in the pose. Oh, its nice froggy head is craning out and extending. It should balance itself. It's leaning a little bit forward, so he's kind of has that forward motion. But his feet are so big, I think it should be able to stand up. not, you'll have something, some kind of a base. But in front of those feet, those big old feet too, there's huge long toes. So that will add to it. You have to think about how I'm going to do those so that they're not too fragile too. Might need to have a little piece of terrain or something underneath. Figure that out. There's a ways to go before I start worrying about that. This clay will burn too, so it has wax in it. Get it hot enough, it'll burn. Come back and double check that later, but needs to be further up on the shoulder. I can tell that already. They're kind of sacked out. It's warm. They're being lazy. July and August, Eggs doesn't come and spend a lot of time with me. He just kind of finds a cool spot on the counter and not interested in laps or anything like that when it's hot. Drop that back in a little bit. There we go. So what I'm going to do with this is basically mass out the shapes, the main muscle groups, and then I'm going to cut it up into smaller pieces and make little molds and pour wax into them and start doing all the detail on that. It's much easier to build up this way, pose and get your forms correct. Or for me it is anyways. That's the way I like to do it. Smaller ones I'll just go right wax to armature. But this is a lot of buildup. We gotta at least give him his frog brows. There. I didn't epoxy the armature wire into the feet, so it's spinning a little bit. I have to make sure I remember that. That will cause me headaches down the road. You know, it's so hard to if I were going to do that, I would do something specifically as a tutorial and then edit it, because going through all that footage, cutting it all up and rendering it, I mean, and just to end up with something useful. So the problem is I don't do like afternoon projects. I do projects that take weeks. So to try to go through all of that footage, you would end up with something that really wasn't even that helpful to anyone. I know it's kind of limiting the stream. People kind of like that quick and dirty. but slick editing and get right to it. Time lapse videos and stuff like that. It's in that Kumia mask, just up to what we have now, there's a couple hundred hours of video between all the sculpting and the molds. You're not going to really take all of that. Yeah, but then it's not really a tutorial. It's more like a docu. I think Jason Yates was going to do a time lapse of Coombs, of that sculpture, which if he does would be really cool for him to do all that work. There's a few channels like Bill Duran's channel. They do really nice editing. His wife also helps with a lot of that, and he has her working on projects, or she's doing projects and demonstrating now too. Help that out. I never, up until we started doing this, I'd never really streamed, so I'm kind of figuring a lot of it out too. Hopefully I'll get better at talking and narrating. And then I'd like to keep doing some updates to my setup. Okay. This hip is shifting. I'm gonna have to secure that foot to the ground because that's gonna keep shifting that hip backwards. All right, I'm going to do an intermission, use the restroom, get some water. What are you doing out here? Just sitting in your drawer. Just chilling in your drawer. how it's supposed to be. Right, Nix? It's about part of the course. I need to set up a squirrel cage fan and exchange all the air in the shop with what's outside. It's way cooler outside than it is inside. Hey, Joey. No, no, no. I know what you're up to. Stay down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Come on. When you come in that fast, I know it's trouble. Come on. Yeah, I really don't want her up here now. I'm doing clay. Those little black hairs. Find a spot to sit down and be good. Preferably not on me. Sit up here. There you go. Sit down. Sit down. There you go. All right, that'll work. Just stay there. Talking about the little desk? Yeah, it's on the shelf behind me. I'm sure I did post. I know I took pictures of it with I took an old cell phone, a Galaxy, I think it was a 3, and I put it in the front of the desk for the TV, and it was a real good effect. And I'm pretty sure I posted that. I still want to make little Artie and little Anthony to sit behind that desk. You know, a million projects that I'd like to do. And the days are just flying by. I can't believe it's June already. We're halfway through this year. That's crazy. Well, we're going to be going, I'm going to be splitting my time pretty evenly through this month between masks and this and one other project. It's going to be a stream heavy month. I'm going to do a couple of masks and then punch hair on one stream, and then I'm going to do some of that off camera just so I can get those done. And the whole thing doesn't need to be seen multiple times. But I want to get all those masks done this month and out. Yeah, I can't remember what. Come here, Nix. Come here. Come on. Do you have to do lap? Do you have to do the lap? I know. It's really a pain. Oh. Ow. Ow. Ouch. Oh, he's a mean, mean kitty. Crazy beast. Where's the other piece? Where's that? That other tabletop must still be out there. Oh, they got dust all over them now. I'm sitting up there on top of that shelf. Wood dust. We've had a few, yeah. So that phone sits in the front here for the TV. I got one more of these somewhere. It was pretty much done. Then there's acrylic inside of these reveals so that they light up too. So you could have like a little Stevie come in and just flip the desk over and destroy it. This one probably won't fit in there. Yeah, it worked out. It worked really good with that old phone. And I just put the show up on it on the TV. But I want to do sound clips of them just laughing and Artie wheezing, and then just have like little Artie and Anthony puppets and just have them yucking, and just laughing. And just a loop of it. Completely stupid and ridiculous, but funny. Artie just wheezing. Dying. You know, already he's just basically a gumdrop with a nose and sunglasses. It doesn't have to even be much. It's a huge nose. Yeah, then he started to do that right at the end there. He had a new thing he was doing. He'd wheeze, and then he'd go. I was like, oh, please, would you just quit already and leave? He'd rhyme something and then go. Like, it wasn't that funny. I'm telling you. It wasn't that funny. The last part of that saga, which has yet to happen, is going to be when they both start letting the anger out. They're still being cool and cordial, but there's some animosity there, I guarantee. There's some built up anger. And it will eventually come out. One of them will let it go one night, and then you know how they both are. Hotheads. And the responses are going to be hot and heavy. It's ridiculous playing that game anyways. Everybody knows it was a terrible situation. They're the only ones acting like there was nothing weird going on. And everybody knows what a weird situation that was. Yeah, that's where it's going to go down. It's going to go down on Twitter. And I don't think it's going to be pretty when it finally happens. Yeah, you're welcome to do that. I think I'm at 5. So there's not that many ordered. It's enough. People were like, people were saying, sell them for cheaper and you'll sell more. And I was like, man, I don't want to make 20 of these things. If I make like 6 or 8, that's great. I don't want to make 50 Kumia masks. I would rather do less and do nice ones. Well, and I understand that, but there's only so much I can do, and I was trying to explain to everybody this silicone's $200 a gallon. So it's very, very expensive. And this is like, I can't remember how much this was. How much was this? Like 48 ounces or something? No, it was more than that. It was 24 ounces of each side. Yeah, so it might have been 48 ounces. Yeah, because it was 24 ounces of each part to fill that mold. But it's a nice thick casting. And this stuff is really, really, really strong. You could work out with it. Well, and just the also too, it's not fun to make 50 of something. You know, I sent out all the second run of St. Chula's. I'm not making anymore. I'm done. I made 50 of those things. And that's enough. I think I ended up making like 40, 45 total or something like that. That's enough. And I tell you, my hands are just starting to recover. That resin's so caustic, all the skin was peeling off my hands. It's still a little bit, but it's recovering. You can't help but get that stuff everywhere. You even when wearing gloves, it gets on your tools, and then you end up with, resin. You're trying to wipe it off, and you just burning up your skin. My hands were so even last week, my hands were so chemical burnt that they just burned holding my hands. They were red, and I definitely need a break from that stuff for a little while. Have you seen the hair, Joey? So I found the style of wig. Although I need to go lighter, I need to go more gray. Let me get this out of the way because there will probably be fibers. I don't want hair fibers sticking to my clay. They're almost impossible to remove. Let's use this. And he's glossy now from his paint, but he won't be once I powder him. It'll be matted back down. So I did find a good source for wigs, and the one I ordered is too dark. But they have more that, you can start getting like a percentage, like 50% gray. So the 50% gray is going to be perfect. Not sitting very well on this paper towel roll. But hey, he's pretty funny. Gotta do, I have to make a vacuform plug for eye shells. These I haven't polished them yet, but they came out really good. But I'm going to do a shell with a pupil that's clear so you can see through that. I think it'll look better than just doing eye holes. Yeah, this is really a day after John Sahag. But anyways, it goes on there real good. Just needs more gray. Ooh, bug-eyed combs. Oh. But I think that'll be better than just having eyes in it. I'm going to punch the eyebrows. Ooh. Pretty good, though. I've got the mold made for the teeth, for the choppers in the front. And then I just need to, I'm probably just going to vacuum form shells, I think, out of white styrene. That's probably going to be the best option. And we got our choppers for the animatronic. And the fangs. So Coombs is in good shape, but I want to get these masks done this month. I'm not going to get the animatronic done this month. That might be even something that pushes, into the summer a little bit. Because that's really, that's a one shot that I'm doing to give to Mike. And it's an incredible amount of work that I'll never be able to really recover even the investment on it. And damn things this project's cost thousands of dollars so far. Yeah, you can get a $15 blue short sleeve shirt at Walmart, and that's all you need. You're set. But this same lady, I found this lady on eBay. She's got the exact same wig except with 50% gray. So this was a lot darker than the picture. Of course, it's always the case. You see a picture and the colors aren't accurate. But this doesn't have any gray in it at all. The other one looked like it had some. It was supposed to be, I think, 10%. And there's nothing in there. There's no gray. But they're free shipping on them, so I'll just order another one. And then I'll use some of the, because I have to trim it a little bit on the sides to make the haircut right. And I'll just use those trimmings from the haircut to punch the eyebrows. Oh, I really wanted to do the muscat. We'll have to just see if we can do that. I'm trying to grow this channel is not easy. Not easy to get a following on YouTube, I tell you what. But that's kind of why I'm branching off into this project and like the Skeksis, got to get some, non-fool related projects going, or the channel's never going to grow. Oh, holy moly, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, I pretty much made my goal. I got this covered in clay. Not quite as far as I'd hoped, but not terrible. Okay, no, you got to get down. Come on. Come on, get down. No, no, no. No, no, no. Yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna cut this stream too and call it a night. Otherwise, I'll end up sleeping late, and that's no good. I did plan to get everyone's tracking numbers out for St. Chula's today, and I did not do that. Tomorrow, we'll try to get that wrapped up. I should turn that foot way out here. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, if there's anyone left, I'm going to call it a night. Get some sleep. Do it again tomorrow. Oh. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you later.